Okay, I will show you how Princess Ayako left, surrender her royal title. Okay, you see how beautiful it was, emotional, beautiful. You see all the royal people and the commoner who are all here to wish them best wishes. I mean, yeah. Look at this. She married this man, businessman. You see? Yeah. This is her husband. You see how simple it was. It was beautiful. Not simple, but you know, it was done in a way that it was done in a way that there is respect of the culture, the tradition, but also the choice of the lady who left. Okay, now you had the other princess, okay, who also, it looks like the Japanese princess are leaving the surrounding the titles. I don't know what's going to be for Princess Kako, but that Princess Mako, I don't know if I said it right, but Princess Mako, I think she's the cousin, if I'm not wrong. She's the child of one of the emperor sister. If I'm wrong, you can also explain that to me, because I try to also, you know, I'm very interested by the royals in general. I'm very interested by them. I think it's also very interesting. I start being interested by the royal 11 more in 2016, but then I expanded, because when I saw how the Japanese royals are more quiet and they are very there is a word, I don't have all the word in English, but their culture, they really respect their culture, even if the ladies are trying to transition in a very normal life. So you have Princess Mako, the other one, who also left she also surrendered a royal title, and she married also a commoner. But sometimes I think people refer to her and her relationship to, I mean her choice with the husband, like Meghan, Harry, Japanese, which I don't really agree with this, because they were very respectful of the family. Because when Princess Mako, she decided to marry the commoner, her husband is a lawyer here in New York City. So when she decided to marry the lawyer, her fiance, it was a boom. It was like a lot of gossip in the, you understand that for them gossip is not like in the Western world culture or in Latin Africa. They are very they really preserve their culture. They are very in French we say pudique. I don't know how you say that in English. They are very careful on some of the situation, you know. So they are very careful, and they don't do stuff like us in Japan. I think I've never been there, but I've observed how they do stuff, especially for the royal. And she stood firm, like Ari did. Of course, she was firm that it was the man that she really wanted to get married to. And when they leave the royal family, they give them a lump sum of money, $2 trillion of US dollar, the currency in US dollar. They give to them when they leave the royal family. And Princess Mako didn't take it. She didn't take it because of already the controversial, the controversy, and how you say that, about her wedding. Her fiance, if I understood it right at the time, if I understood it right, his mother had a fiance also who lent her some money, and that money, the mother I think she invested that money in her son's studies. Yes, if I got it right. So she didn't refund the money to the fiance. So when they broke up, it was all over the news that, oh, Princess Mako, who is royal, want to marry a commoner who already have a not really a good background according to that culture, because he came from a family of a single mom, family, and who already also have a situation with her ex-fiance. So the press was not like happy about that. The press in Japan were talking about it, and that gave Princess Mako a lot of stress, because she even said to the press that the day where they had to give, one of the people to explain, they had to explain the story of this relationship, what happened in the back. But then, the family accepted it was her decision. She left without the lump sum given by the royal, and now she, I don't know how many years she came to the U.S. in New York City, where her husband is working as a lawyer. And if you see Princess Mako, you can't even know that she's a princess. You don't even know that she's royal, because she has completely accepted her position that she's no longer royal. I mean, she's still royal in the blood. I don't know if she had bodyguard, I don't know. But when she came to the US, you could see that there was a protocol around her, But she was so, I don't have the word, that when she came to the US, you couldn't even know that she was among the people, But it was her, and she lived a normal life. You see her in New York City. She carry her shopping bag. She's dressed normally. She doesn't have expensive luxury brands. She doesn't do that. She have normal brands. She's very simple. She's royal, And she married a commoner. I think she worked for free, if I'm wrong. I don't know. She worked for free for Metropolitan Museum, something like Metropolitan, that museum where they go do Met Gala. Yeah, she works there. If I'm not wrong, she works there for the Asian part, because she did some studies in something about art and history, something like that. I don't remember, but she's studying it, and she's she studied in it. I think she has a doctorate in something like that. So I will show you a little bit about her,
Princess Mako, the niece of the Japanese emperor, has married her non-royal fiancé Kei Komuro. The proceedings were low-key after years of public controversy. There was no ceremony and no reception banquet. Princess Mako was reportedly made ill by media coverage of a financial dispute involving her new mother-in-law. Rupert Wingfield-Hayes reports from Turkey.
This is the moment Princess Mako left the imperial family, bowing to her mother and father. But then the rigid formality of the imperial household was broken for a moment, as Princess Kako stepped forward to give her older sister a warm hug. A few minutes later, with her new husband by her side, the now former princess spoke of the couple's love and deep desire to make a life together. It was clear that her choice of a commoner from a single-parent household did not meet with the approval of many here. Japan's tabloids went after Kei Komuro relentlessly, digging up allegations that his widowed mother owed tens of thousands of dollars to a former boyfriend. To many in Japan's deeply conservative establishment, this young man was just not fit to marry a niece of the emperor.
So you see there was a lot of controversy about her you see that there was a lot of controversy about her choice of husband and for the royal family and the conservative and everything. but you see that it wasn't like a big everywhere gossip. No, when they left, actually her husband refunded all the money to his mother previous relationship. Yeah, I think he refunded because I think in Japan it's dignity and proud and honor. So I think he refunded all the money. There wasn't So I just want to show you that what I want to show you here is like, this is something I don't get with black women. We do, you see how Meghan Markle handled the stuff. Now see how it happened for the other royals. You see, that's why sometimes I like to look to other community, and I'm learning so much, and I don't know how to say that, but it was really interesting. It was really interesting to see how differently people approached the way to live the world. It was beautiful, and because of these ladies, I've been very interested to know more about Japan. Just because of these ladies, because the way they behave was so well. I mean, you could tell how they are really well raised by their parents. Okay, and it takes me quickly to, and because of these ladies, it makes me really interested to know a little bit about Japan. And it's not that I haven't been interested in Japan, but because of the way they behave, make me want to know a little bit more about the family. And not so long, I think last month or early this month, if I'm not wrong, there was one of the sister, also one of the youngest sister, Princess Kako. She went to Brazil. Okay, she went to visit Brazil. First when I heard about, I was like, what is she going to do in Brazil? I was my question. Why? I was like, why Princess Kako? Why as a princess of Japan we go to do in Brazil? I was just like, what is it that they go there? And with my curiosity, as I tried to follow the journey trip of our visit to Brazil, I didn't know that there were Japanese Brazilian descent there. Ancestry, I don't know how to say that, descent there. I was like, no. Seriously, there are Japanese Brazilian. Not a recent one. They have been there for decades, like for a long time. Like they were Japanese American, like I talked in my previous video when I talked about Shugi Otsuka talking about the Japanese American living, they had a little bit of similarities in their history. And they are, let me read it. I was shocked. I was like, what? When you don't know history, you will learn some stuff like, oh my goodness, I didn't know that. And I suspect maybe there are Japanese ancestry or Japanese descent in Chile, but I will have to check it because I read something like that maybe, but I will read about that. So listen to that. Japanese Brazilian are Brazilian citizens who are national or naturals or Japanese ancestry of Japanese immigrant living in Brazil or Japanese people of Brazilian ancestry. Japanese immigration to Brazil peaked between 1908 and 1960. I didn't know that. No, seriously. No, I was ignorant. I didn't know that they were Japanese Brazilian. Since 1908. And I think what I read is like they went there because Brazil was looking for people who could work and help for the coffee exportation, coffee, something like that, if I'm not wrong. And they also had a little bit of the situation of what happened to Japanese American at the time of the World War. They had the same situation too, in a way, because they also lost, in a way, their possession. And they were few they were like traders because of what happened during the World War. and then later on, thanks God, things came back to them. But in order for them to come back to a very social, a very strong community in their countries, it has to be rules, okay? It has to be some directive, some decision, some life decision. And I will talk about that later in my other video about why Black communities are poor. Because Thomas Sowell took example of Japanese Americans. Because people always like to say, oh, because of racism, Thomas Sowell took example of some race and explained how if race is the reason why we blame our poverty, then we are wrong. We are lying to ourselves. Okay? He has proven to that. And it was so interesting. And that's why I've been saying that we do not, there is something wrong. Like we don't like to question our behavior. So when Thomas Sowell talked about that, he talked about Black in America in general. And somehow some Blacks of other countries and the continent. But it didn't even have to go into too many details, because I know because after observing the Africans, how we do stuff, and people are talking more and more, I can prove and I can confirm with Thomas Sowell what he's saying about the reason why Black people are poor. We have to break the cycle, at least for the generation to come, for our children, for the generation to come, you know. And no, I was like, oh my goodness. And that's why Princess Kako was there. She went to visit the Brazilian Japanese. And again, like I said in my other video, they were doing the same thing all these decades, bringing the people of the country to teach them their culture and their tradition. I was saying that for the book, when I talk about the emperor, when the emperor was divine, or Julio Tsuka, and I say that I read about the Japanese American, and they said the same thing. They were bringing traditional people who know the traditional Japan from Japan they took them to America to teach them the culture, the importance of their identity in a way, how to eat, how to dress their stuff, how to speak their language. You know, because cooking is a part of your culture. Cooking is also a part of your identity. You know, that's why last time when I say that Black people in general, we don't have the same issues, because they have other issues as African. Because cooking is also a part of your identity. It's a part of your culture. Okay? So it was very interesting. So Princess Kako was there in Brazil, and I found it quite interesting. Another part of history that I didn't know. The more you read, the more you are curious, the more you learn. You learn about. It's incredible. That ladies, these princesses made me want to discover a little bit more about the Japanese culture. It's good when you give a good example of your country, the way they are doing. It's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. I mean, I think it would be interesting to discover more about them. Wow. So they are Nipo Brasileiros. I didn't know that. Pardon my ignorance. No. Anyway, thank you for watching. And I hope to talk to you about I admire so much, and I love I mean, it's very interesting. I mean, if you have the chance to have his book. And by the way, I will take the book of the person who commented on my video last time to go to take Frantz Fanon. I don't forget, I will go get this book. I'm just a little bit worried that when there's too extreme of someone, but when someone writes extreme but I will definitely, I hope next week I will get the book. By next week I hope to, so, or this weekend I want to read about Frantz Fanon. I know someone who are reading his book, but I always felt like he was extreme in the way he, you know, but since one of you, okay, suggest me to go read his book, I will go read. Okay, I will go read. But it's not going to change anything about the way I view some stuff. Okay, maybe it's going to change a little bit of something, but yeah.